Hey, I'm Nate Savage with GuitarFam.com, where it is our mission to help you play the songs you love with the people that you love. Now, in this video, I want to show you my #1 fingerstyle warm-up exercise, but it's way more than a warm-up exercise. It's that, but it's also an accuracy builder, and it's something to calibrate your hand to the guitar when you first start your practice session so you can have a much more fruitful practice time when you go to play the songs that you're learning. There are two reasons that you're going to want to incorporate something like this into your daily routine. The first reason is it calibrates your hand to the guitar and warms you up. So like, let's say you sit down to practice and you just jump straight into playing songs. You're using your songs to warm up at that point, and that can be difficult and kind of demoralizing because you think, oh, I stink, I can't play the song. But if you take time to warm up, calibrate your hands to the guitar, then your practice time is going to be a lot better when you start to get into the songs. #2, if you're not working on your accuracy in a kind of isolated, controlled environment outside of songs, at least a little bit at the beginning of each practice session, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice and making fingerstyle guitar a little bit harder than it should be. So it's important for both of those things. And before we get into this, if you need a little help or a more detailed approach on how to program in your thumb accuracy with fingerstyle, then go sign up for a free course we have for you. It's called the Fingerstyle Thumb Bootcamp. The link is in the description below for you. It'll help you get your thumb in shape. So let's just start about talking about technique and posture. It doesn't matter if you use like a folk technique, plant your pinky, or if you use a more Travis picking technique where you plant your wrist on the bridge, or if you float your hand, classical style. That's what I'm going to do in this video. And it doesn't matter if you use a thumb pick or not. That's irrelevant. So what you do is you get set up with your 3 fingers on the high 3 strings, the skinniest 3 strings, the G, B, and high E strings. And then you come set up just on your lowest E string there. And I'm going to use an E chord while we're doing this. Okay? So you want to be really relaxed. Don't kink your wrist too far one way or the other. If you kink it this way, it's going to hurt after a while. If you kink it this way, I would say that you're probably using more of a planted thing. That's fine, but don't kink it too far this way or that way either. That'll hurt after a while. So what I'm going to do is just go through and pluck the low E string with my thumb, and then I'm going to pull into my palm with these 3 fingers. And most of the motion is coming from these big knuckles right here. And it feels like, if you want a good analogy of what I do, like think of a dog coming up to you and you just reach out and scratch them on the head. That's exactly how it feels for me. Most of the motion is coming from here. All right, that's what it feels like. And one thing you want to be aware of is to not dig in too much of your fingers into the strings. If you do, the more you dig in your fingers, the harder time you're going to have getting them through. So you want to do just enough to make the noise and keep it light for now. Just alternate your thumb and fingers. And what you're going to have to develop here is this kind of sympathetic relationship that looks like this. When your fingers strike, your thumb comes back and prepares, and when your thumb strikes, your fingers go out and prepare. Like this. It's almost like a breaststroke if you've ever learned that, if you're a swimmer. When your arms do your stroke, your legs are preparing for the next stroke. When your legs stroke, your arms are preparing for the next stroke, right? So it doesn't look that complicated, but you'd be surprised how much effort it takes to get this programmed into where it's really smooth. And it's simple enough, though, to where you can really focus on your thumb accuracy. Am I hitting that low E string every time? And then, am I digging too much of my fingers into the strings? Because that can really trip you up, too. So those are the main 2 things I'd be looking out for, besides focusing on just the coordination that we're doing here. So thumb goes down, fingers shoot out. Fingers pluck, thumb shoots back and prepares. Thumb strikes, fingers shoot out and prepare. Fingers strike, thumb comes back to prepare. And what you don't want this. And I exaggerated that. You don't want to pull off with your wrist like that. Because when you start going fast, you don't have time for that, right? And also you probably don't want your thumb kinked too far this way or this way, because that can introduce some tension as well. But that's what you want to shoot for. You can do it with different chords, because when you switch chords, your thumb is going to change to the lowest root note of whatever chord you're playing. Like if I'm playing a C, I'm going to go to the A string. The cool thing about this is it's isolated. You don't really have to think about it. You don't even have to put a chord on. You can isolate it and dial it in to where it's absolutely perfect and slow, super slow to where you don't have to think about anything else except for, am I hitting everything just perfectly? And when you can do this in context, let's say, you know, on Let It Be or something, if I don't have to think about my picking hand, I'm free to think about, you know, either my fretting hand or where I am in the song or dynamics or things like that. It may seem very basic, but that's the point. The simplicity lets you dial in your accuracy without any distractions. What's going on? If you're good with that, what you can do is put it into a rolling pattern too. That's kind of the next natural step. I would use this for 2 to 3 minutes a day at the beginning of each practice session, and watch your accuracy and your confidence grow as you work on other songs that you're going to be practicing after you do this warm-up. Now, let me just tell you, I'm living proof that this exercise works. If I have a gig that I'm playing with my wife when we play both acoustics and only have 2 minutes to warm up, you better believe this is the first thing I'm doing for about a minute, and then I may move on to some rolling versions of it. But I certainly do that. It works. It gets my hands acclimated to the guitar, helps me focus in on my accuracy with my fingers, and it gets me warmed up all at the same time. Give it a shot at the beginning of each practice session, 2 or 3 minutes for the next few months, and you will notice a big difference. Okay, that's it for this video. If you have any questions at all, just email us support@guitarfam.com or leave a comment below. And don't forget, if you need some help getting your thumb accuracy in order, go sign up for the free Fingerstyle Thumb Bootcamp on guitarfam.com. The link is below for you. That's it.